بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. So yesterday we were talking about things that are makruh, disliked, and some scholars do comment over this word makruh. They say, how dare you say do something that Allah dislikes? Because kurh is, something that is disliked. So from that, of course, it's this, when we say disliked in terms of Sharia, means it's better if you don't do it. So does it give you sin? Mostly not, because Allah is merciful. But if you can avoid it, then you should. Why would you want to do something that Allah doesn't like? So as we mentioned, we talked about a few things, like not reading another surah after Surah Al-Fatiha in the first two rak'ahs. That is disliked. Number two, to read Surah Al-Fatiha twice or more. Number three, to look around during prayer, unless we said there is something like urgent that is happening. Number four, to close your eyes during prayer. We said closing the eyes during salah is not recommended unless it makes you more focused. Some people can be more focused if they close their eyes in salah. And I think somebody asked me yesterday, does that include sujood? It does. In sujood, even if you keep your eyes open, and there is a research that it's actually good for your eyes. When you keep your eyes open in sujood, because the floor is so close, the muscles of the eye will contract all the way. So this movement will not happen otherwise. Normally, you don't bring anything that is so close to your face. So that is a good exercise for these muscles. So subhanAllah, everything we do in our deen is good. So keeping your eyes open, even in sujood, is sunnah. And it's not recommended to close your eyes during salah, except, as we mentioned, if it makes you more focused. The next one, to open your, or to make sujood like the dog. And this is a common mistake. When you make sujood, your elbows should not be touching the ground. Your hands, and you push your elbows up. Your elbows are not supposed to touch the ground, and that is for both men and women. Somebody thought that for women they should, and men are not supposed to. This is for both, men or women, and we explained before there is no difference in salah between men and women. The same way the Prophet ﷺ prayed, they both pray. The only difference is about being loud or quiet in salah. That's it. So when we make sujood, we put the hands down, facing the fingers, facing the qibla, and we push the elbow up. So the elbow should not be touching, and the rest of the arm should not be touching the ground. This is how the dog sits. So that's not good.
Yeah, are you talk about the arms with the elbows coming out also, or no?
What's that, Brother Asim?
Are you going to talk about the elbows coming out? Sometimes the brother next to me puts his elbows so far out, I can put my head underneath his elbows.
Yes, of course. I mean, we have to abide by the personal space. You're not supposed to put your elbows out to the side and bother other people. Do that as much as you can within your space, but don't put your elbows on the ground. Even if you raise it a little bit above the ground will be enough.
So, but are they in line with the body, parallel with it, or do you flare them out just a little bit?
If you have enough space, then you should.
You should. Okay, so that's the sunnah, is to flare a little bit.
Yeah, the sunnah is to push them to the outward, basically. But again, if you're going to bother other musallin, then no, keep it within your space.
Right, jazakumullah.
وإياكم إن شاء الله. By the way, this is a general rule. Anything you do in salah that can distract others is not allowed, whatever it is. Some people move too much. Some people, like you said, they hit others with their elbows or whatever they do. Anything that bothers the musallin around you, you are losing reward for that, because if they had khushu', then the khushu' is no longer there because of you, which includes bringing children and whatnot. Yeah.
If sometimes you, by mistake, you forget to recite surah after
Fatiha.
Surah Fatiha.
Well, if anything by mistake, Allah is forgiving and merciful, but not intentionally.
Not intentionally.
Yeah, by mistake is okay, inshallah. Number 6, moving too much for no reason. We were just talking about it. That's disliked. And if you keep moving, you can break your salah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam, brother Zubair. Some people break dance during salah. They start doing break dancing. So too much movement is disliked, but to a point that you can basically break your salah. Some people move too much, and they need to train themselves not to move too much. Putting your hands, the next one, putting your hands on the waist or by the side, and basically not doing this. That's disliked. It does not break your salah, but it is disliked. Next one, I think this is important, to cover your mouth during salah. So if you're wearing, let's say, a turban or something to cover your face, to cover your mouth, is not recommended in salah. That's disliked. Unless, of course, when, and may Allah protect us, somebody is sick, or you want to wear a mask for protection, then that is, there is a reason for that. But in general, covering your face or your mouth in salah is not recommended. Next one.
Brother, yeah, this applies to also women, right? They like they can't be wearing a niqab while they're praying. Is that correct? Like, because I've seen women.
They can if they are praying in a place where men can see them. If they want to.
If they, okay.
Yeah, in general, no. In general, it's better not to cover the face for either men or women. But if they are in a place where it's public and it's possible that men can see them and they feel more secure, they can put the niqab. But generally, it's disliked to cover the face. Number 9, to be in a race with the Imam. It's mentioned in the book, and I'm surprised, and I'm happy that it is. There is actually a hadith. The Prophet ﷺ says, don't you fear if you raise your head before the Imam, which means the Imam is in sujood. He did not get up yet. And you got up before the Imam, that Allah might make your head like a donkey's head. So it's not a race. It's not about who beats the Imam and gets first place. That's what Imam means, to be followed, not to be raced against. So that is important. Number 10, tashbiqul asabi', to do this, to cross your fingers, to put your fingers together. This is disliked before salah and during salah as well. So once you make wudu and you're going to the masjid or you're going to pray, doing this is disliked. After salah is done, is okay. After salah is done, is okay.
Okay.
Number 11, to play with your hair. I used to do that a lot. To play with your hair. Some people, they do a whole makeup and the whole hairdo during salah, haircut, MashaAllah. So to play with your hair during salah is not recommended. And to play with your thawb too. Whatever you dress, some people do this and do that, and they keep playing, they pull it up, they pull it down, pull it right, pull it left. Some people play with their clothes. Of course, any of these things will take your khushu' away, assuming that there is khushu' to begin with. The next one, food. If you're hungry and the food is ready, The sunnah is to eat first. But of course, when we say that, we are assuming that you have time and your salah, you're not going to be missing salah. So basically, I'll give you a scenario. You are at lunchtime, for example, whether at home or at work or whatever it is, and time for dhuhr, and food is ready. So, if I go pray, I'm going to be thinking about the food. It's going to be all plates of biryani flying in the air in my mind. So there will be no khushu'. So go eat first.
But yeah, this also applies to using the restroom, right?
I was about to say that. I was
Okay.
about to say that. The Prophet ﷺ says, لا صلاة بحضرة الطعام ولا هو يدافع الأخبثان, which means you need to go to the bathroom.
I had a question. I wanted to like ask, like, what if the bathroom is not, like, for example, readily available? Like, if you find yourself in Medina or Mecca, where you have to exit the haram to go to the restroom. So I remember the time when I was like maybe 15, and what happened was my father wanted to make jama'at for Maghrib. And I wanted to go to the restroom. I moved the entire salah.
Of course, we are just talking about general rules. Exceptions always apply. For example, we're talking in general. In general, you are at home or at the masjid, and there is a place to use the bathroom, and there is a place to make wudu, and you feel like you have to go to the bathroom, you go make, because again, when you pray and you have to go to the bathroom, there will be no khushu' as well. But there will be a lot of exceptions. Number one, sickness. I told you last time I actually did Umrah, and I made a big mistake, and this is always my advice to those who go do Umrah. Never eat anything that has liquids in it, or anything fresh. Fruit, vegetables, anything fresh, never eat that. If you want to eat something, it has to be cooked really well. So I ate, I drank, I ate that, and I got sick, and my whole family got sick. Yeah.
Those spices make you sick.
Well, in Medina, it was in Medina, I ate some fruit shake. So I was shaking the whole night. So anyway, I went to Fajr and my stomach was upset.
Yeah.
Since then they call me Shake. That's where it came from. Milkshake. So I shake too much. So I was in Fajr prayer making dua for the Imam to go to ruku'. I was not thinking about what he was reading because my stomach was hurting. So in situations of sickness, we're talking about the ideal situations when you have a choice. Like Brother Zubair said, you are in the haram, you are already in salah or standing up almost for time for salah, and going to the bathroom might cause problems and it will not be easy or accessible, then you might have to hold it a little bit. Or you can do it in your pants, but then people will be like, what happened here?
Well, because the bathroom in the haram is all the way out.
That's right.
So if you're lucky, you can get out, if you're lucky.
It will be tough, yeah. So that's why before you go there, make sure you use the bathroom. Make sure you're okay, ready to go, and then you go.
Yeah, that's true.
So you have to have a plan.
So you're saying holding is not allowed if I want to hold it till after I'm done?
If you have no excuse to hold it, and why are you holding it?
Well, I got there and then the prayer started and the pressure built up. Then it's like, subhanAllah. So I have to hold it. What can I do?
Why are you giving us so many information? I did not have dinner yet. I know my stomach is hurting, but like I said, it depends. If you have already started your salah, and this is the point here. You started your salah and you're okay. And then during your salah, this happened, inshallah, you're okay. You can hold it until you finish your salah. You don't have to break your salah for that. But what we're saying is don't start your salah if you are in that position. You are in this position, you need to go to the bathroom, and you are not in the haram. You are in a place where you can go to the bathroom and make wudu again. Sometimes we get a little lazy. I already made wudu, for example, and I have wudu. I'm waiting for the adhan, which might be in the next 10 minutes. And then I start feeling I need to go to the bathroom. I say, well, I'll wait. I'll hold it until I pray. And then so I don't have to make wudu again. This is not recommended. That's what we're saying.
But I think the shaitan is waiting for that moment. You know, it's like whenever you do wudu, right away.
That's what people say. I don't know why, but that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next one. To look up during salah.
Mm-hmm.
Even some say this can break your salah. Here they're saying in the book this is disliked. I know some opinions that say it makes your salah invalid. The Prophet ﷺ says if you do not stop looking up during salah,
Mm-hmm.
then you shall lose your eyesight. If you keep looking up, this is a big deal. They made recently they made a show in I think Dubai about Imam Shafi'i.
Mm-hmm.
So basically they're trying to show people the life story of Imam Shafi'i. So they showed one of the scenes. He was in jail, and that is true. The Imam Shafi'i and most of the big Imams, they were put in prison and tortured. So he was praying and leading the people in Salah, and then he started looking up during Salah, making dua during Salah. So that's like a bunch of bid'ah stuff Shafi'i will never do. So this is why we should never get our knowledge. Yeah, and the prison in the show looks like a hotel. Anyway, we should not get knowledge from TV or these shows. These shows were made for entertainment. And most of the time, they do not have a supervisor who looks at the historian facts even. Next important point, we talked about this. Whoever leaves Salah intentionally, saying that I don't have to pray. This is what the book, I'm just quoting the book. فَهُوَ كَافِرٌ مُرْتَدٌ. He is no longer a Muslim. He is a kafir. And this matter has no dispute over it. إجماع المسلمين, all Muslims agree that whoever refuses to pray, and he says, I don't have to pray, wa alaykum salam, and he claims to be a Muslim, then he is not a Muslim. He is a kafir. So this is the only one, I would say, يعني, of the five, well, other than the shahada, that makes you a kafir. Like for example, somebody does not give zakah intentionally ever, that's a sinner, but he does not become a kafir. Somebody who does not fast Ramadan intentionally, again, that's a kafir, not a kafir, I mean a sinner. But someone who does not pray intentionally, then that is a kafir. So this is a big deal, because this is the only thing that can make you leave Islam out of the obligatories, inshallah. Yes, brother Abdul Jalil.
So the last class you mentioned, you talked about the hadith with Prophet was touched in the back, and he talked about the three deeds.
Right.
So at the end of the hadith, you said Allah told the Prophet to make a dua. So that after he finished praying. So in that, did the hadith mean after salah or at the end of salah?
That is normally after the sunnah, since it's a dua. So that the hadith does not mention which type of salah, but since it's a dua, so we're saying it's after sunnah. Or you can say there are small ahadith that, like for example, a short dua you say after salah, Allahumma a'inna ala dhikrika wa ala shukrika wa dhukrika wa husni ibadatik. That's a dua, but it's mostly dhikr really. So this is in between. You can say it after salah, after farad, but again without raising your hands. So a short dua from the sunnah after salah is okay, but it should not be like a long dua like people, ask for things they want. It has to be something linked to a hadith. This is more specific. Okay? Now for those who do not pray because of laziness, so we talk about people who do not pray intentionally. Let's say I don't want to pray. Then he's not a Muslim anymore. If somebody does not pray because of laziness, if he prays sometimes, and does not pray sometimes, yani he skips, then he's a sinner, not a kafir. He gets a sin. If he never prays, even though he's not saying I don't have to pray, he's saying I have to pray, but I'm too lazy and I never pray, then that's a kafir too. So this is, again, it's a big deal. Someone who never prayed out of laziness or intentionally is not a Muslim anymore. Yes.
Okay, so then it would be even though they know that the whole the past,
It's all gone. It's all gone. Nothing matters. Yeah. Somebody who does not pray, again, never prays, but he does zakah, he does siyam, he does other stuff, nothing matters. He's a kafir. So that's very dangerous. Not only that, you cannot marry that person. He's not a Muslim. You cannot marry that person is a kafir. You cannot marry them. So this is people think this is privilege, or this is something that is optional. You ask a person, do you pray? And he says, no, I don't pray. Then you can't let him marry your daughter. So this is a big deal. He's not a Muslim anymore.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
I just wanted to ask, when you do Surah Fatiha and then you read some surah, so it has to be in order in second rakah, like you do. Is it?
That is sunnah. That is sunnah. Better,
okay.
better, but you don't have to.
You don't have to. Okay. And
To
the
read
other
next
thing
surah
is,
better. Yeah.
and the other thing is, on Fridays, these Rasul Sallam used to read Surah Sajda. Is it in first salah?
In Fajr, he used to pray to read Surah Al-Sajda and Surah Al-Insan.
Yeah.
Or Al-Dahr, yeah. He
Yeah.
used to use these surahs. Yeah, he was kind of consistent on that, yes.
Yeah.
That's
so
true.
you do, it's in first salah, right?
Yeah, it's sunnah, you don't have to, because Surah Al-Sajda is long. Surah Al-Sajda is about
Yeah.
three pages, and Surah Al-Dahr about 3 pages too.
Yeah, I tried
2
to
pages,
do, because I memorized Surah Sajda, so I do it. So that's what I wanted to confirm.
Yeah, no, that's good. If you can, mashallah, very good. Yes.
Jazakallah khair.
Wa iyyakum. So, yeah, now we're going to talk about the optional prayers. We talked about the mandatories, the 5 daily prayers. We're going to talk about the optional prayers. The optional prayers are the best thing to do in Islam after the mandatories and after al-jihad fi sabilillah wa talab al-ilm. So this is very important to us if you want to put them in rank. Number 1 is the jihad fi sabilillah, to struggle for the sake of Allah. And we explained that before. Number 2, seeking knowledge. So imagine how high in rank seeking knowledge is. Coming to class, for example. After that, doing the optional prayers. There is a beautiful Hadith Qudsi, one of my favorites, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks, and we say Hadith Qudsi means Allah is talking. Nothing brings, first of all, man aada li waliyan faqad adhantuhu bil harb. Whoever becomes an enemy of my wali is a close friend of Allah, then I have declared war against him. Now, you don't want to be in war with Allah. Nothing can bring, and now Allah explains to us how you become wali. I want to become close to Allah. I want to be wali and get that protection from Allah. Nothing brings my servant to me, closer to me, more beloved to me than the 5 daily prayers. Faradtuhu alayh. Fard is always important. But if my servant wants to get closer to me, then he can do nawafil. Tahajjud, qiyamul layl, sunnah.
Brother, I'm sorry, I'm interjecting. I wanted to ask about Salatul Tasbih, Salatul Hajjat, and they're bid'ah?
All bid'ah. None of them is sunnah. Tasabih, Salatul Hajjah, all of them are bid'ah.
There's only Salatul Shukr, that's good.
Salat al-shukr is
Shukr?
allowed. Shukr is allowed.
Salat al-duha?
Duha is sunnah.
Duha is,
Duha is sunnah. Yeah.
what is istikhara? For
Istikhara is sunnah. Istikhara is sunnah. Duha is sunnah. Shukr is sunnah. Witr is sunnah. Tasabih is bid'ah. Awabin, Salat al-Awabin, bid'ah. Salat al-Haja, bid'ah. Yeah, all these things were made up by the Sufis.
but I didn't know any of this.
But I had heard that
I'm
Salat
sorry.
al-Tasbih, you have to pray it once in your lifetime.
And then what will happen if you do?
I don't know. I have never prayed, but everybody is telling me you should pray once in your lifetime. I don't know. They said
Yeah.
according to Sunnah, then Nabi Sallallahu did it once.
He never did it. There was no such thing. We made it up not too long
I
ago.
think the hadith that they're talking about is if you can pray once a month, or I'm sorry, once a day. If you can't, then once a week. If you can't, then once a month. And if you can't, once a year. If you can't, once in a lifetime. Right? Is it something like that?
Yes, exactly. That's what I've heard, and I
That's
wasn't sure
exactly
about it.
what
I
I've
have never
heard too.
prayed it, but I'm not sure about it.
That hadith is made in China.
What's the difference between tahajjud and salat al-layl?
Qiyam al-layl. Yes, tahajjud, you have to sleep first.
Okay.
Qiyam al-layl, you don't sleep. Tahajjud is higher in rank. You get more reward for tahajjud.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah. So Qiyam al-layl, you want to pray after Isha. You did Isha and you feel like I can't sleep or I am energetic. You can pray Qiyam al-layl like Taraweeh. Taraweeh is a form of Qiyam al-layl. Tahajjud, you go to sleep and then you wake up again. That's why tahajjud is more difficult and you get more reward for tahajjud as well.
Okay, good.
But all these salawat, al-awwabin, al-tasabih, al-haja, they were made up after 400 or 500 years after the hijrah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. People made them up and then they made hadith to support these, and none of them is authentic. And the scholars agree that all these things are bid'ah.
So it's not even the Da'if hadith about this one, the Salat al-Tasbih?
No.
How can, then I'm confused here. How do people claim it with Nabi Sallallahu name? How do we claim it that he said it?
That's the only thing they claim. They are like claim so many things. They're even worse than that.
This is said that
I'm so sorry, but I also heard of Salatul Hajjat, like meaning like if you have a calamity or something.
Right. I've heard about that too.
All of us, I heard about it too, and I used to do all these before, by the way. I prayed Salat al-Tasabih one time. It took me 45 minutes. It's a very long Salah, or at least 1 hour.
It's a very long Salah. Yeah.
It's very long Salah. So all these are superstitions, traditions, and culture. When you go and research and look for the hadith, all these hadith are fabricated, not weak. They're fabricated, but they're completely made up. No such thing. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ never did any of this. What the Prophet ﷺ used to do, إذا حزمه أمر هرع إلى الصلاة. If he was in trouble or he had anything, he go and he prays 2 rak'ahs nafil. He does not call it haja or tasabih or anything. Just pray 2 rak'ah nafil and he makes dua asking Allah for help.
But he's a
Anything
prophet.
else is not sunnah.
He's a prophet, and Jibreel will come and help him.
Yeah.
Can we do this do a salah in the same manner if a trouble has stricken us? We make the intention that, oh Allah, there's a calamity of XYZ, like my house or my expenses, salary, whatever, and then perform 2 salah nawafil. I wouldn't have to. I don't want to name it Salatul Hajat. But and I won't do a dua. I won't do the dua of hajat, but I do a dua asking Allah to get rid of the trial or tribulation in my life.
The reason why because when you pray and then you make dua, Allah will accept your dua when it's sunnah, as we mentioned. That's the reason. But it doesn't have a name, haja or anything like that. That's the purpose is, you need to make dua. You want Allah to answer your dua. So after praying 2 rak'ah sunnah, nafil, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is inshallah a higher chance that He will answer your dua. That is the purpose behind it. But they naming it haja or having a specific dua, that is bid'ah. You pray any 2 rak'ah sunnah you want. You read anything from the Quran. Normally, قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ are good. First rak'ah and second rak'ah. And finish your salah and make dua by the words you use. You choose your language, ask Allah for help. Other than that becomes bid'ah. This is what the Prophet ﷺ used to do. There was no specific dua and there was no specific time for it or anything like that. It's just because anytime you can pray nafil. You don't have any time you can just go and say, I feel like I want to pray nafil, make wudu, pray 2 rak'ah. That is permissible. Just don't name it something the Prophet did not name it. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. That's the main thing. Inshallah.